Yo, what's up? You are hanging with the ninernut, man, on this Wednesday afternoon. A lot of shit going on. Craziness, craziness. Last 24 hours have been rather interesting to say the least. I know who I've had on my brain a lot of the time has been Skip Dickless. I found a really good way to piss me off with his fucking stupid tweets. First off, and I don't want to get into him. I don't want to get into Skip Dickless. Early on because I don't want to give an asshole too much attention. There's already too much of that in the world going on. I don't follow the guy. I'm not on Twitter. I don't do any of this. I don't watch ESPN really. I don't get into the whole, the whatever, I don't know, whatever these guys, these so-called commentators, experts, journalists, whatever the fuck they consider themselves. I don't even follow them. I don't get into it. I like to listen to certain people, but I also like to watch it myself. For that matter, like I can't educate this dude, man, with his fucking tweets. First of all, who the fuck tweets that much during a game? Aren't you watching the game? See how many times he tweeted during that Cowboy game? You know, like, give me a break, dude. Sit down and watch the fucking game. Tweet afterwards. Put up some plays. Stop tweeting like a little bitch from your fucking box. Half the shit you talk about, you don't know about. I hate the show you do with Shannon Sharp. It sucks. I've seen it a couple times. It's more grandstanding than anything, less facts. And it's just like a way for these guys to kind of have a platform to just so they can hear themselves. Stephen A. Smith does the same shit. So I don't listen to it. I don't watch it. What I do like to listen to is a show called Moving the Chains, I think, on the NFL Sirius network. That seems to be pretty good with ex-quarterback Jim Miller from the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Chicago Bears. And then they have another show, I think, with Charlie Weiss. Rich Gannon's on there. So I like to listen to a lot of the veterans talk a lot of the time. But again, like I think that it's important to like kind of listen to a lot of the veterans, then listen to a lot of listen to a lot of fans and people who are actually watching the game, who watched the game for a while, who've been watching the game all season long, who just didn't like put on TV at the last couple of weeks or whatever the fuck, or on Monday night's game. I mean, look, let's face it. Okay, Tampa Bay coming into the season was on a decline from last year. We all know that. Okay, Bruce Arians gone. I'm sure Tom Brady had somewhat to do with that because, I Tom Brady's the type of guy that where he goes, it's going to matter. Okay, Byron Leftwich, not the best offensive coordinator, obviously, but to be fair, they didn't have a running game to save their life. Whether it's Rashad White, Keyshawn Vaughn, any of these guys, they couldn't run the ball. Jesus Christ, with 3 feet, couldn't run the ball back there, although he would have like floated over them. It wasn't working. Their offensive line, Travis Wirfs, Ryan Jensen had just come back. They had a lot of injuries. Okay, Tampa Bay was not the best way to judge how good your team is. Okay, Dallas should have blown them out. To be honest. Okay, so you don't get points for that. You don't get points for. Okay, you went to Tampa Bay. Great. They were still decimated by injury. You didn't beat nobody. Okay, let's face it. And a lot of the times this year, I haven't seen Dallas beat anybody. All right. And to be fair, how many teams have put up points on Dallas, whether it was the Texans, the Jaguars, regardless. Okay, and okay, yeah, you started your season off without Dak Prescott. Well, here's some news for you. Dak Prescott's a mediocre quarterback, okay? Dak Prescott turns the ball over. Is he terrible? No, he's not terrible. No, definitely not terrible. I think he's in like the mid area of quarterbacks. But again, not great, okay? He's not, I don't know who else other than Roger Starback, Danny White, Troy Aikman, okay, who else are you going to put that's been the next it guy in Dallas? Okay, it wasn't Tony Romo, and I like Tony Romo. I don't like him as a commentator, but I liked his game, but he didn't win shit. Okay, and again, not all that is his fault. There were some bad teams. Dak Prescott hasn't won anything yet. Okay, a lot of injuries, turns the ball over. I know the injuries isn't totally his fault, but turns the ball over. Now, they got a good dual running game with Tony Pollard and Zeke Elliott. Zeke's kind of on his, I don't want to say his way out, but his style of game has kind of declined, that crash into people type shit, and he was great at it. I mean, Zeke was a beast at first, but the injuries have caught up to him, and now they're finally using Tony Pollard the way they should have used him last year and the year before that, which is a split out of the backfield or, end around, banging it to him short. It makes Prescott's life a whole lot easier. Okay, so, that's obvious. Their offensive line isn't too bad. I mean, Zach Martin, they got that Tyron Smith, who's really good. But again, still young, not maybe where it's supposed to be. But everything goes back to the quarterback with them. I don't trust Dak Prescott to go win me a game. if it's in the clutch. I give it to Aaron Rodgers. I give it to Tom Brady. I'll give it to somebody else. I'm not going to give it to Dak Prescott. That's just not going to happen. Okay. The defensive side of the ball with them, are they good? Yeah, everyone talks about the Dallas defense, man. I mean, yeah, they're okay, but Micah Parsons is a beast. They switch him to either side. I get it. He's a weapon. He's a juggernaut. You could put him on the left, put him on the right, line him up here, line him up there, he'll come up the middle. 100%. DeMarcus Lawrence, injuries have caught up to him. He's a great defensive end. Don't get me wrong. They're getting good play out of that Dorrance Armstrong. Well, thank you for everybody for joining the live feed too. I can't believe they're saying that he had the game of his life against the Bucs. Yeah, that you don't get points for that. Again, I think this is just a guy just trying to look to up his shit with the team he likes. And again, it's not being objective, man. It's not being objective at all. If you really want to be objective, watch the Niner game against the Seahawks and watch the way Purdy turned in a performance where in the first half, a lot of people are like, oh, he's nervous. Okay, but he's a rookie. He's going to make some mistakes. But watch the way he composed himself. There were three segments that I think are really, actually four, that were really amazing in that game. The one where he scrambled left to right, dumped it off to Mitchell for the touchdown. The one that he scrambled left to right, back to the end of the field, threw to Ayuk in the corner of the end zone. Unfortunately, he dropped it. Then there was the play where he fucking did the bowling thing, the Roy Munson from Kingpin, who he reminded me of. When he bowled it, I was like, what the fuck did he just do? That was pretty smart, man. He got rid of the ball. He knew he didn't have anything. I never see that. Okay, usually you see quarterbacks maybe throw it out of bounds or throw it into a place where there's really nothing going on. And obviously you saw that happen to Tom Brady, unfortunately, on Monday night. He threw that pass in the back of the end zone, which ended up getting picked off, which I think changed the momentum of that game, which may or may not either been a throwaway or to somebody who he was trying to hit. I don't know. But there was the other segment where Purdy made that really nice run on his feet. So that's being objective, watching a guy who, yeah, he struggled a little bit in the beginning, but how did he compose himself to come back and throw and have a monster game? They're not talking about that. Very rarely do they talk about that. I think the only one people that do it is us. Is we the Niner fans who've seen every game this season, who've watched, the majority of the game season, watched the progress of Brock Purdy. I feel like everybody else is like, what planet are you on, dude? Have you not watched this guy from week one? Did you not see him against Miami or against Tampa Bay or against Seattle or Arizona? Maybe they haven't because they're not Niner fans. But these so-called sports journalists that I think, what's your job is to journalize sports and cover things. Don't pick and choose the shit because you like the team. Don't do that. He made another stupid comment. He'd rather have Tony Pollard over Christian McCaffrey. Are you kidding me? Like, what the fuck are you talking about? And again, that's like, that's an idiot's way to gain likes, to gain fucking, to gain, whatever, to gain views, because that's what they have to do. They're not objective. They're not watching the game we are. They're just being, they're carnival barkers, idiots. They have a platform that's built on bullshit to begin with. I can't wait till the Niners whip Dallas's ass because I'm going to haunt Skip Bayless to the end of time. Not threatening him, but I'm going to haunt his ass to the end of time. I'm going to send him I'm not even on Twitter, but I'm going to contact him and everything that has to do with the Cowboy Niner game. And I'm going to light him up with that because he needs to remember all the bullshit he talked about. Even the bullshit, I mean, again, it's nothing against Tony Pollard. I think he's a good running back. I think he's got a lot of talent. But better than Christian McCaffrey? No. For some reason or another, I don't know who the powers that be that did the voting for the Pro Bowl, but were you having a moment where your eyesight just kind of zipped out? Because McCaffrey is having a monster season. And forget about the fact that, yeah, he's had injuries in the past. Okay, he missed some time in the past. Okay, he played in a bad team in Carolina. Look at how much he's meant to this Niner team. Dual certified, catching the ball, running the ball. How smart he is, the way he runs, the way he picks and chooses his holes, the way he's got this great engine. I mean, there's a reason why the guy, was rated so high in across the board. Injuries happen, but you don't just ride the guy out, especially now when he's in a system that's so much better for him. I mean, let's face it. Who did you have in Carolina towards the end? Samuel Darnell? Come on, man. I mean, you had Matt Rule doing the coaching. I mean, that says enough. Here with the coaching of Shanny and the offensive system they have and the way they're able to utilize a lot of running backs, use them, you got it made in the shade. And again, man, McCaffrey's been, I think, the nail in the coffin that we needed to really certify ourselves as legit badasses. Not that we couldn't win with Elijah Mitchell or Jeff Wilson when we had him before we traded him. No, I think we definitely could have. But when you are able to get a player of that caliber, you get him. And I was critical of it because we were giving up draft picks and there were injuries, to McCaffrey. But I take it back, man. I stand corrected. He's been legit. He's been the real deal. So having trying to say Tony Pollard's better than him, dude, what are you talking about? I don't watch the guy. I don't listen to the guy. I hope Shannon Sharp jumped over him, but I'm not really a big fan of Shannon Sharp's talking either, man. I think Shannon Sharp is one of the greatest tight ends of all time. I like his physicality, the way he gets after it. I follow him for that. But, I just feel like he kind of conflicts his politics into sports, and it's just like, okay, separation a little bit. I don't want to. I just want to watch it for a certain area, for certain entertainment values, certain area. I don't want to hear someone's political values when I'm trying to talk football, man. But I hope he jumped all over Skip Bayless for that, because he's Skip clueless, Skip dickless, Skip moron, Skip fuckface, stupid shit. He said something he would rather have Dak Prescott over Brock Purdy. Okay, based on what? Experience? Well, that's not really fair to Brock Purdy because we're talking about the present. I can understand that argument, but what experience, dude? I mean, no offense. You haven't won anything. Yeah, you've been in the league, you had that terrible injury. Thank God you came back from it. Look at last year's game, dude. You got your ass handed to you. For all intents purposes, you did. Okay, you lit up. You threw for 4 touchdowns against a defense that clearly quit on Monday night. They were done because they were on the field too long. Their offense couldn't fucking run the ball. No offense, but Byron Leftwich should get fired, and so should fucking Todd Bowles. He's a terrible head coach. He's a great defensive coordinator. They won a Super Bowl with him and him as defensive coordinator. Not as good as a head coach. Look at the track record. Byron Leftwich, I don't know. You had Tom Brady. You had Mike Evans. You had Rob Gronkowski. You had Godwin. You had a lot of good pieces there. You had a great offensive line when you won it. Do you get a lot of moxie for that? I don't know. Because the last year they couldn't run the ball. This year they can't run the ball. Come on, man. You got 3 or 4 guys back there and you still can't find a running game? What the fuck? Monday looked like a game in the street, a 2-hand touch game where you just keep throwing the ball. Yo, you got to change this shit up. I don't always agree with Troy Aikman and Joe Fuckface Buck, but Troy Aikman was right. He's like, you got to find a way to run this ball, dude, and it ain't happening. So I got into the Skip Bayless thing rather early, but that's all right. Whatever, man. I don't really have I try not to. I try and do everything free flow. I don't really have I don't like to have a set way of doing things. It gets boring. But yeah, man, stupid comments to make for a journalist. And again, he's not objective. He's there to fucking listen. I've heard his show before in the past, but he's just like Colin. What the fuck is that idiot's name? Colin Cowherd, 2 morons. It's all about them. It's all about their opinion. They're not objective. They're all there just to shock value bullshit, trying to be the Howard Stern of like ESPN, whatever, of the sports world. It doesn't work. So fuck him. He doesn't know what he's talking about. You didn't beat anybody. You should have beaten Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay could have won that game too had they would have had a running game, but whatever. It happens. And again, I'm not trying to like just totally negate the Dallas Cowboys. Are they better than last year's team? CeeDee Lamb is great. Michael Gallup is okay. Dalton Schultz, to me, is their best receiver because of his hands. He reminds me of Jay Novacek. He's a great wide receiver, man. Very smart. Again, everything for me comes back to Dak Prescott. I just don't see him going to be able to dominate on Sunday. Now, under pressure too is another thing. You're playing a whole different beast Sunday, son. Let's face it. You can't even compare the Niner defense to the Tampa Bay defense, to any of the defenses you've seen this season. So it's a whole nother thing. Just go watch game film on how we were able to turn that game around on Saturday from one half to the other. Getting into that game, let's talk about that. Hey, hat off to Geno Smith, man. Guy's had a brilliant year. I'm happy to see that he's hopefully going to get that contract he well deserves in Seattle, because it can't be easy to step into his shoes, going through what he went through, taking over for Russell Wilson. But hey, man, it's a really good story to hang in there and just keep going, keep believing in yourself. They put him in the perfect position. He learned the offense, obviously. He had a lot of nice pieces around him. DK Metcalf's a beast, had a phenomenal game. Tyler Lockett's always been a real good wide receiver. I mean, he's his fourth year of over 1,000 yards. Come on, this kid Walker's a beast. So that Seattle, I can't wait for Sunday either, bro. That Seattle that Seattle team, man, it made some noise early on. I wasn't really worried. I didn't like what I was seeing. But it was a quick adjustment. I got to give them credit. They came out, kind of did the things that running the ball. They were having a lot of luck running the ball, and then the pass to DK is just a one-on-one, him versus Shavarius Ward. I mean, look, DK Metcalf is a freak of nature, physically, so you can understand how hard it's got to be to cover him as it is opposed to other wide receivers who aren't 6'3", 6'4", with biceps that are huge. I mean. But again, hats off to Shavarius Ward for turning in a really good performance in that second half. Hats off to that whole 49er team. I mean, that's what we're talking about. The way you're able to make changes, as Troy Aikman was saying, Tampa Bay didn't do. That's how you win games. Make changes, learn from the mistakes, pick things up. That's what this team does better than ever because they've got that talent at every aspect of the team, whether it's on the defensive side of the ball, the offensive side of the ball. They make changes, they change things up, they're versatile. It's going to be a great match. I'm not taking Dallas lightly. It's going to be a great challenge for the entire team, but still say we stop their run game and limit their pass game and the 49ers win. I agree 100%. Couldn't agree 100% more. They're not going to have as much luck running the ball against us. There's no way, shape, or form. I think CD is going to get what he gets. I mean, he's deadly. Let's face it. He's that talented. But I think, again, it's going to be one of those things where Ward's going to be matched up with him. If I'm saying I think the guy to watch is Dalton Schultz because he's the weapon, man. He's really that sneaky guy who come underneath for 5 to 8 yards, turn that into a little bit of something. That's who I'm looking after. I'm not worried about Dak Prescott. Defense are going to do what defense are going to do. They're going to get after them, and they're going to put pressure on him, force him into hopefully turning the ball over, which I think is very, can definitely happen. I still don't believe that there is a head coach out there that cannot coach. I agree with you. I was saying the same thing, AK391979. I feel like you got the Terminator T1000, Cyberdyne Systems Model 101 thing. I agree with you on that. I was saying that to myself yesterday in the car. I don't see a head coach right now that's left that's as good as Shanahan. And I've been as critical of Shanahan as can be. I was critical of him on Saturday when he called the pooch punt. I was like, the fuck are you doing? Why are you giving him the ball back? Why are you giving him an opportunity? Knowing he could hit DK for long. Okay, there are things I disagree with sometimes, true. But Shanny, I think, again, I've said this before, has coached his best football this season, being decimated by injury at the quarterback position, bringing along not one, not two, but three quarterbacks. Utilizing the running game, but again, that's in his DNA as much as it was his father, and just getting the overall abundance out of this offense. I think he calls his best games when he's under pressure. I mean, that's just my opinion. People want to just hate on him again because he choked with this, in the playoffs. I mean, I understand that. It's always going to be there for him. It's always going to be the 3,000-pound ugly elephant in the room for him. So he has to win. We all know that, but cerebral and knowing the game and knowing his talent and backing his guys up, there's no one better than Shanny, man. I look for Shavarius to have a bounce-back game. Seemed like DK got in his head. I can see Mooney getting back on track. Yeah, I can see that too. But again, look at the talent he's played against. I mean, nobody has faced better talent than Shavarius Ward all season and that defensive backfield, when you think about it. Cooper Kupp when he was healthy, DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, obviously CD Lamb coming up on Sunday, DeAndre Hopkins, Hollywood Brown for the most part. I know he didn't play the first time out. So again, they're well seasoned. Oh man, thank you. That's really kind of you for saying that. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much for your kind compliments, sir. Thank you. And I appreciate you being here, man. Yeah. So you can't hate on Shanny, man. Shanny. A lot of teams would kill to have him. I don't give a shit about that Super Bowl, man. That's past. That happens. And for that matter, he's lost 2 Super Bowls. One as a head coach, one as an offensive coordinator, and even in that Super Bowl, there were things that he could have done better. Second half, we sucked, but we things change. But that's neither here nor there right now. We're talking about the present. Going back to Sunday's game, what a way to turn around. We were always in it. we came right back, answered back, do what we always do. Because I don't think again, Seattle's defense is not great, obviously, but they have a lot of nice pieces like Poona Ford, good run stuffer. That Cody Barton is great. He reminds me a little bit of Zach Thomas. He used to play for the Miami. You fucking hear that, dude? I'm combining teams now. Miami Dolphins. He also kind of reminds me a little bit of Leighton Vander Esch. Obviously, they were missing their big gun in Jordan Brooks, but they're a nice combination, Brooks and Barton. They also have that Woolen rookie who had 6 interceptions this year. You know, that's not a bad team right there. Okay, and they had a really good season for what people were saying was a rebuild. Yeah, bullshit rebuild. Yeah, Seattle's a good football team, so we beat a good football team on Sunday. We were the better team, obviously, and that just goes to show you the talent. Pete Carroll's a great head coach. That fumble by Amanu, huge. Bosa recovers, big game changer. Even though we were up 23-17, I again going back to the game, I didn't understand Shanny's ability. The pooch punt, I didn't agree with. I don't care. Don't give this team the chance to throw the ball deep and get more points. And what happened? Jimmy Ward made a bonehead move. It was sort of a questionable hit, to be honest, because he had already left his feet. He didn't go helmet to helmet, but I could understand why. The quarterback was helpless. In all aspects, it's easier said than done. He should have pulled up, but I know he couldn't. So that penalty hurt. To get that, for the momentum did switch from 17-16 to 16-13 for Seattle. It's just me since CMC and Brock have become starters. Shannon's now making not only in game adjustments and halftime adjustments as well. Now we can see that we can come back from a deficit. Yeah, again, that goes to I think the talent there, that he understands his talent. One thing again Skip Bayless is missing is Brock's ability to make plays happen, to do what Ben Roethlisberger used to do, what Montana used to do. They extend plays, which makes them deadly. What Brady used to do, extend plays. Brock extends plays in that offensive, in that pocket, which makes things so deadly. So that's something that a lot of people are missing out on too. So it makes things so much better for Shanny. But again, a great win Sunday altogether. I mean, turning it on in the second half is what we exactly knew was going to happen. You got another great game from the great Fred Warner and Dre Greenlaw. They're monsters. Javon Kinlaw came up big on a few plays. Good to see him back in there. Ricky Armstead came up big on there. Obviously Bosa, obviously Amanu. Defensive backfield came up big at the end, in the second half, turning things out, getting that pressure on Geno Smith. And then on the offensive side of the ball, look, there's no better things you can say about Brock Purdy. That was his best performance by far on Saturday rather. Brandonaiyuk and Deebosamuel. I mean, Ayuk, I think they're both legit number ones. Deebo is so deadly because the more you watch him and the more you learn that he's, 6'1", or 6 feet, and 212, 215, whatever it is. He plays like he's 6'3", 235, the way he just has momentum going forward, runs people over, bounces people off him, does not go down on the initial singular tackle, absorbs hits really well, just gets better as the game goes on, and he's just so much better as a dual threat. Ayuk has just become like this dead, he's all purpose, man. Over the middle, going long, really good hands, smart receiver. And then, of course, Juwan Jennings had a nice, huge catch on Saturday. And again, a good, tall third receiver, comes up with big catches. And then, of course, there's the always valuable George Kittle, who I always think gets undervalued because of his blocking ability. So, you've got the quadruple threat there. And then, again, my hat off to Elijah Mitchell, who really looks good out of the backfield as a receiver. I mean, caught a touchdown, runs hard. I like the way he runs between the tackles. Got a lot of upside, young, got a lot of energy. A good guy to kind of substitute for CMC, who obviously gets utilized so well. That offensive line did damage again. I mean, look, I'm probably going to catch heat for this, but I don't care. I think this is McGlinchey's best season that we've seen out of him. Really rebounded well from the tenacious injury he had last year. He's played great. He's become a staple at that offensive line. Two other guys, man, Aaron Banks and Spencer Borford. I mean, they're absolute dogs. Daniel Brunskill is like, again, a perfect guy to fill in anywhere, and he could start. He's a dog. Brendel's a dog. And, of course, Trent Williams, man, the best offensive tackle in football, in my opinion, getting better as he gets older in age. And we've seen that in certain players, especially at that offensive tackle position. Look at Jason Peters, right, who's now playing for the Dallas Cowboys, but he enjoyed some really good years in his 30s and then on. You see that in tackles a lot of the time, who are able to keep themselves healthy, and versatile. I mean, that's what he does, man. He's an absolute weapon. So this team found a way to just turn shit around on Sunday. And I kind of expected, I think as Niner fans, we all knew what was going to happen, especially momentum being at home in Levi and, playing a division rival, them just answering the call, turning things up, and absolutely just shitting on the fucking Seahawks in that second half. Because when you do the math by the numbers, being down 17-16, how'd that work out? Well, you outscored them, big time. You outscored them 16, 26, 36, 25-6. It was a from that point on, totally lit them up. And Purdy, by no means of the imagination, didn't, there was those early passes. I didn't really think he looked scared or look whatever. I just think, it was adjustments he had to make, and he did that really well. That's how good of a talent he is. We don't see that out of Zach Wilson. You don't see that out of certain young quarterbacks, especially in the rookie era. And I don't mean to put someone on blast, not trying to put him on blast, but look at Skylar Thompson. If you watch Sunday's game against Buffalo, yeah, he was in Buffalo, up in the cold. What was his numbers? 18 of 45, did throw 2 interceptions. You didn't see that from Brock Purdy, man, okay? Now, Buffalo obviously is a better team than Seattle, but still, I'm talking about a singular operation. Obviously, you don't see that out of certain guys, especially who were drafted in this bracket this year. Purdy's is again, as the great Steve Young said, he has the force, he has the juice. You can just see it. There's something there that you can't put your finger on that is unique about this guy. And if you don't think that, then you better really do your fucking homework and take your lutein for your eyes and shit, because you're missing. Skip Bayless, that one's for you. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. But overall, a great win, and again, it just goes to show you, the way Purdy was able to compose himself in a playoff game. There were like a lot of skeptics trying to say that, well, he's going to be nervous, this and that, playoff football. Yeah, he did it in the rain. Another thing they used against him, the weather, which he was able to, get under control. So again, the kid is a breath of fresh air. He's also just doing things that I've never seen a guy in his position do. And again, I talked about those segments where he ran back to the left, extending plays. He took a shot, too, on one of those plays, man. Takes the hits well, runs the ball well when he has to, throws the ball away when he has to. Smart guy, man. If he had a full season, he's the type of quarterback I could see having very low interceptions, high completion percentage, very strategic, knows where to place the ball, knows what he can do, has great eyes, counts off the receivers well, knows his offense well. That's another thing, man. Knowing your receivers, knowing your offense. We see so many times. Zach Wilson comes to mind. I don't mean to put him on blast either, but quarterbacks that just don't know their offense, don't know their talent around them. But just going into the stats from Sunday, because I always like to look at the stats just to kind of, the numbers do matter. I don't like to, like I said last time, go all Moneyball type shit.
The newest thing from Pizza Hut isn't
that would be
pizza
the
at all.
ESPN
It's
fucking thing going on.
So crispy, loaded with
So
toppings,
fucking annoying, these
just
ads, man. It's not even
$6.99.
funny.
Enough for two, price
I
for one.
don't care.
New
Hurry
Pizza
the
Hut
fuck
meals,
up.
just
Pizza Hut is
$6.99.
dog shit. Horrible music to put with this shit commercial. Ooh, look, a highlight.
They give it to Amon-Ra. He flips it back to DeAndre Swift inside the 20 and down to the 17-yard line. Oh, what a play. Little hook and
Won't
lateral
let me
look
stop
that
it.
time. Quick throw to Amon-Ra.
Oh, there it is.
Who flipped it back to DeAndre.
There we go. I don't know what they're showing there. But anyway, getting into some of the stats from Sunday. So Geno was 25 of 35 for 253, 2 picks and an interception, 2 touchdowns, interception. Yeah, man, he had a good game. Geno's really just total second. Talk about, guy having a monster second half of his career. He's it. Kenneth Walker, the rookie, 15 carries, 63 yards, 1 touchdown. After that first half, he wasn't much of a factor, though. Gino, 4 carries, 28 yards. DJ Dallas didn't do anything. DK had a huge game, 10 catches, 136, and 2 touchdowns. Other than that, there wasn't really a wide receiver that was much of a factor. Sunday's game going. I see us doing what we did to Seattle, maybe a little earlier. Score-wise, I'm thinking somewhere along the lines of like maybe 38-13, 38-20, 35-17 in that era. Another good performance from Purdy. But I think what we're going to do is run the ball down their fucking throats all day long, pound the living shit out of the ball, pound it right at them, absorb the clock. Yeah, definitely. I think a quick bounce, because I think that's what you have to do against this team is get the strap on early and pound the living shit out of them. It's going to be high intensity, but I can't see Dak as being the type of guy that can just take all that on his shoulders and just turn things around. I just don't see it. I'm sorry. Looking back at these stats, yeah, I mean, we only gave up 1 sack to Bruce Irvin. I feel like Bruce Irvin has been in Seattle like forever, you know. But other than that, the offensive line did a damn good job. No turnovers, again, testament to Purdy, testament to that offense. Purdy was 18 of 30 for 332, 3 touchdowns. Obviously, the second half is where he really turned it on. If you look at those numbers, 18 of 30, a lot of people would, I guess they'd bitch and moan about the completion percentage or whatever. But what I'm more focusing on are the yards. And again, the way he extended a lot of those plays and helped them to get in the end zone. McCaffrey, another gem game, 15 carries, 119 yards. I feel like he goes under the radar so many times because of all the other great things going on. But that's how valuable he is. Deebo, 3 carries, 32 yards, 32 valuable yards. Brock Purdy, 4 carries, 16 yards. May not look like much, but he's not a prototypical scrambler. I was happy to see Jordan Mason get in there. Elijah Mitchell only had 2 yards on 9 carries, but where he was most valuable was that touchdown pass he caught. 2 catches, 25 yards. McCaffrey, 2 catches, 17 yards. GK, 2 catches, 37. Jennings, 2 catches, 41 yards. Again, averaging 20 per catch. Aiyuk, 3 for 73, 24 average per catch. And, of course, Deebo, 6 for 133, averaging 22 per catch. 3 wide receivers averaging over 20 yards per catch. Deebo in that long-ass gallop that led to a touchdown. I mean, that's it right there. To me, you don't have to look anymore on the stat list right there. That says a lot. And the funny thing was, a lot of those passes, the Deebo pass was just proficient and excellent blocking up front. That's another thing, is the blocking, not that we're just getting from the offensive line, but from everybody, has just been phenomenal. Jusek, Aiyuk, Jennings, Tyler Croft, and so on. Even Elijah Mitchell. Defensive side of the ball, Dre Greenlaw, turned to another superb performance. 11 tackles. Fred Warner, 6 tackles. Diamador Lenore, another guy had a nice pass defended. That guy is so valuable, man. It's scary. Bosa had the big fumble recovery. Aminu had one of his best games of the season. 2 sacks. Hufanga, 5 tackles. Samuel Womack, the third, 5 tackles. We did get a sack from Arik Armstead. Again, happy to have him back. So I think everybody's gelling at the right time. Everybody's getting in there at the right time. Like I said, Kinlaw had a big tackle for a loss. And, of course, Lenore came up with that interception. Again, he's a guy who's just gone under the radar. But I think for us watching all the games we watched this season, we've seen his progress. Ray-Mary McLeod didn't get a lot of chances, but he did get that one punt return for 16 yards. Robbie Gould, 4 for 4. And Mitch Wishnowski, only 1 punt, but a damn good one, 57 yards. Obviously inside the 20. Again, a guy no one talks about, always has high percentage of punts inside the 20. A great overall performance, man. It was, I think it was what we expected. I think it was a phenomenal win. Always a phenomenal win when you can beat the crosstown rival, division rival. You can win it, third time, sweeping the living shit out of them. and you win in the playoffs. What's better than that? And it's going to be great again to absolutely fucking stick it to the Dallas Cowboys this weekend. And then we go from there. I mean, hopefully the Giants get an upset. I was kind of surprised. I'm not really surprised the Giants didn't beat anybody Sunday. The Vikings just suck. They're cotton candy. But hat off to the Giants. The Bulls done a great job there. Jones has played his best football as of late. Looked great on Sunday. Saquon is back to what Saquon was, and they're doing it without, a number one juggernaut receiver. They're doing it with a bunch of different guys, much like DeBoll did for Josh Allen in Buffalo. On that note, I will say Buffalo is beatable, man. Buffalo's a disappointment. Buffalo's a disgrace. Should have blown out the Miami Dolphins. I give Miami credit for hanging in there, making a lot of defensive turnovers and whatnot. Offensively, they didn't look great. That Jalen Waddle had a huge drop. But I don't see Buffalo beating Kansas City, obviously. If they do, anything could happen. And then, of course, there's the Cincinnati Bengals and the Jacksonville Jaguars. No, I'm sorry. Cincinnati and Buffalo, is it? Or is Jacksonville? Jacksonville's playing Kansas City, I believe. Right? Cincinnati faces Buffalo. I take that back. Actually, let me just triple check that. I don't know why I just had a brain fuck there for a second. But, yeah, the Cincinnati-Baltimore game was a pile of shit, too. If anybody watched that, that was painful. That was really painful. I don't know what happened there. Take it back. Jacksonville, Kansas City, Cincinnati, Buffalo. Yeah, man. I mean, the Cincinnati game was a pile of shit. Tell you the truth, Lamar Jackson will not be back in Baltimore. If they can win or do what they did with his name just escaped me for a second. On Baltimore, the backup quarterback there. I don't know why my brain totally forgot his name. Guy did a damn good job, though. Tyler Huntley. If they could do what they did with him and he was hurt, he had a bad shoulder. Why do you need Lamar Jackson? Why are you going to pay him that? Thank you, man. Appreciate that. You don't need Lamar Jackson. Let him get his money from somewhere else. I don't see it happening because I'll tell you this much: Lamar Jackson, to me, is another version of Colin Kaepernick, a very talented individual who can make things happen with his feet. He has a rocket for an arm, but he's not an overall great quarterback in all things of the sense quarterbacks are, if that makes any sense to you. I think that he's also playing in an offense that allows his talent to stretch, but I think it's that type of offense or style has a timeline, and that timeline's kind of coming to an end, especially with the injuries that we've seen him have, the turnovers that he's had. I'm surprised Harbaugh didn't get fired, to tell you the truth. That's what I thought was going to happen. But if they can win with this kid Huntley, you don't need Lamar Jackson, man. Save your money, rebuild, get yourselves a wide receiver, because Rashad Bateman was injured all year. Get yourself DeMarcus Robinson's not really number one. Get yourself a guy to help out Mark Andrews. That guy does everything, man. Cincinnati really underplayed themselves, which is really weird because Cincinnati's a damn good football team, but they just didn't look in sync for some reason. It took them a little bit to get. They're that type of team, that type of fighter that 5-6 rounds in they start to heat up. So I think that they're still a very, very valuable. I think they're going to knock off Buffalo. We're going to see that game. We didn't get to see it in longevity, unfortunately, because of the horrible injury to Hamlin a couple of weeks ago on Monday night. Thank God he's doing better. But I think you're going to see Cincinnati knock off Buffalo, and I think you're going to see Cincinnati then advance to knock off Kansas City. I'd love to see Jacksonville upset Kansas City. That'd be amazing. On that note, Jacksonville knocking off the Los Angeles Chargers. Wow. I turned that game off. Started to watch some movie, and then I went back. I'm like, wait a second. This is a game? Holy shit. Really got to suck for the fans at SoFi, because not do you have one, but you got two shit-ass teams playing in the same fucking place. The Los Angeles Chargers can't find a way to help themselves. They always do this, man. They shit the bed left and right with such talent over there. Austin Eckler, Justin Herbert, Mike Williams, who did not play, Keenan Allen, Joey Bosa, Khalil Mack, Kerwin James. What the fuck? How can't you win that game, bro? They always do it. If you've watched them this year, like I have a couple times, you know it's coming, dude. You know it. Hat off to the Jacksonville Jaguars Phenomenal comeback. Hat off to Lawrence for sticking in there. Threw 4 picks in the first half. How many quarterbacks do we know that don't make it back from that? Hat off to Christian Kirk, Zay Jones, Travis Etienne. I mean, Doug Peterson. I mean, he could probably be coach of the year, if not for Shanny. And DeBowl. Great comeback. So, again, it's going to be an interesting weekend. After we beat Dallas, again, I think the Giants can beat Philadelphia. I really do. I think it's possible. I think DeBowl has, he's got that offense playing very well rounded to where it could throw a lot of confusion at Philadelphia. Because look, for me, the jury's still out on Philadelphia. I need to see what Jalen Hurts really is. I don't know, because Jalen Hurts I'm kind of putting into that box with Colin Kaepernick, with Lamar Jackson, with Michael Vick. Guys who are tremendous talents, do have good arms, have the right pieces around them, but given when it's time to be a real, not real, but when it's time to be a certain quarterback, can you do it? And he's got great pieces around him. A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith, Dallas Goedert, Miles Sanders, who had a really good year, Boston Scott, Kenneth Gainwell. Their defense is really good. But I don't know. I really see the Giants maybe have a chance to upset them. We'll see. I don't think it's going to matter either way. Yeah, the shoulder may be an X factor is right. Yeah, good point, man. Good point. Although I think they can probably do it with Gardner Minshew, a guy who really shouldn't be a backup. He could be a starter in this league. I felt that way when he was in Jacksonville. I don't know. That's just me. But I don't know. If the Giants can do what they did this Sunday, not give up as many points and kind of keep that game level, their defense can definitely get the job done. But I always appreciate you guys being with me, man. Always fire your comments, whether negative or positive, whether you object with me or agree, or your, messages, whatever, man. It's always good to be in the company of 49er fans and, being among diehards, being a diehard yourself and being amongst them and just going back and forth with good content. Keep your eyes on the coaching information going out there. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with the openings and if there are going to be more openings around the league. So I know the Jets have hired Nathaniel Hackett, I think, or interviewed Nathaniel Hackett to be their offensive coordinator, which was a really good job to do, because he's a much better offensive coordinator than he's a head coach. That although I can't put the blame on him because it wasn't the same Russell Wilson. Oh, man, thank you so much for, again, kind words. Thank you. I'm sorry. I just saw it now. Somebody wanted to be part of the podcast. Unfortunately, if I don't have the time. If I did, I definitely would add you to talk. I'm always happy to talk with Niner fans. Definitely start doing that in the next episode, which should be coming hopefully at you earlier this week before the game. So I will keep you updated. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do. Really appreciate it. I like our picks ramping up. Yeah, I do too, man. I really do. That's another good news. We got those 2 draft picks for 223 and 224 supplemental for Rand Carthon going to become the general manager of the Tennessee Titans. Much luck in him. Much thanks to him. So it's always good to get more draft equity, which we need. All right, on that note, 34-23 Niners victory. I like that. I don't think it'll be close. I think those 23 points will come in garbage time. That's just my opinion, similar to like how the Seattle got 23 points. Yeah, we always seem to, I agree, in rounds we can hit on, man. I always like those 3rd and 4th round picks. I don't know. Majority of them, sometimes you can just get those players that are, kind of in between, not maybe, a lot of talent that's stock there for later on. But all righty, I'm out. Enjoy yourselves. God bless. Later.